Good morning, everyone. We're honored to have with us today an Israeli soldier, Yehuda, for Yom Hazikaron. We're going to have a special breakfast in a few minutes with him. Today in Israel is Yom Hazikaron, and around the world as well, remembering the soldiers who have fallen defending the land of Israel. This year, 56 soldiers died since last Yom Hazikaron, bringing the total number of victims, of soldiers murdered, to 23,741 since 1860 is when they count from. In addition to that, today we also mourn all those civilians who were murdered through terrorist attacks, because they're also on the front lines, and there were 9 civilians that were murdered this year by terrorist attacks. So we're mourning 65 new beautiful souls, beautiful Jewish people who were murdered by our enemies this past year. If you've ever been to Israel on Yom Hazikaron, it's the most incredible thing. Completely different than Memorial Day in America. In Memorial Day in America, people have barbecues and go shopping. In Israel, millions of Israelis go to military cemeteries and stand together, and there's a 2-minute moment of silence as they remember the fallen. Dini and I were last year actually in Israel for Yom Hazikaron. It was our first time. We went to Har Herzl in Jerusalem. I can't describe what goes on. For hours, thousands and thousands of people are going to the mountain, to the cemetery. When you come in, they give you flowers, they give you a candle, they give you a prayer, and all the families of the fallen soldiers stand around their father, husband, daughter, son, and the cemetery is packed with maybe tens of thousands of people. There's hugging and kissing and crying. It's just so emotional. And then the siren goes off, and then everyone sings Ani Mamin and Tikva. It's the most amazing feeling. And this is what's going on all over Israel. And the night before, it's like Kol Nidra, everyone's walking to ceremonies, to remembrance events. What's most remarkable is that they end the day with a ceremony at Har Herzl, which right away goes into the celebration of Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. So, when you think about these 2 days side by side, from grief and sadness to joy and celebration, as Jews, every time we eat something and we have any benefit or pleasure in this world, we make a blessing. It's called Birkat Hanenin. You eat a fruit, you eat a piece of whatever you eat, you thank God for what you ate. And the Talmud says that if you don't thank God for what you ate, it's as though you stole from God. So literally it means you took something from God's world without thanking Him, so it's like you stole from God. But Rashi on the Talmud says, what does it mean you stole from God? It means you stole His blessing. What does it mean you stole His blessing? So the commentaries explain that everything in this world sings the praises of God. When you look at this universe, it says, Ma Rabu Masach Hashem, how awesome, how beautiful, how wonderful are your creations, God. So let's say you eat an apple. You removed one of God's creations from this world. So you diminish, so to speak, God's blessings, God's beauty, God's greatness in this world by consuming something that He created. So therefore, you have to give a blessing to God to, so to speak, offset or replace that blessing in this world, because the world has become diminished by you consuming something and removing one of the creations of God that sings praise and the praises of and the greatness, extols the greatness of God. If this is true, if you eat a fruit or you use something in this physical world, how much more so, God forbid, when a Jewish soul or any human being is removed from this world, that person's life is no longer there to continue to praise and to extol the goodness and the virtues of life and love and kindness. All the years of that person's life that would have been a fountain of goodness and kindness and righteousness is now cut off. And many of these victims are, as we know, soldiers who are 20, 21, 22. They had a whole life ahead of them. There would have been marriage and children and grandchildren. We can't even fathom how much beauty was removed from this world because of one death. How much more so 65 soldiers and civilians who died this year. So what is our response? Our response is we're going to try. We could never replace even one life. But as much as we can, we have to bring more goodness in this world, and more love, and more kindness, and more praise of Hashem, to try to offset in whatever we could try. We could never achieve it, but whatever we can to try to fill that void that was created by the loss of these lives. And that's why today is such a meaningful day, and from today we go straight to Yom Ha'atzmaut, because Yom Ha'atzmaut is the day that we celebrate what Israel represents to us Jews and to the world, and all the goodness that comes out of Israel. And our best response to Yom Hazikaron is to have the celebration of Yom Ha'atzmaut, what Israel represents, what really Israel represents, besides technology and science, is Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Dvar Hashem Rishlaim. From Zion will come forth Torah and the word of Hashem for Rishlaim. That Torah and the word of Hashem should come forth from Israel as the prophecy proclaimed. I just want to conclude with a powerful quote I saw. And someone said like this: Yom Hazikaron reminds us the price we have to pay for having the state of Israel. But last week we had Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day. Yom HaShoah reminds us of the price we pay for not having a state of Israel. And so while the price is so great, we have to remember each and every one of the soldiers, of those who sacrificed their lives. And we have to be thankful that we have a state of Israel, that we could have soldiers, that we could have an army to defend Jewish life, because the most important mitzvah in the Torah is to save and rescue a life and to defend Jewish life. And we learned in the last generation the price we pay when we don't stand up to defend ourselves. And so to Yehuda and to all the Israeli soldiers, Yehuda represents the entire IDF here in our shul today. We can never thank you enough for your self-sacrifice, for putting your life on the line to defend Jews, not only in Israel, but around the world. And you give up, you make this sacrifice, and many of your colleagues gave up their lives, but you are willing to do that. That is the truest form of Avat Yisrael, of love for a fellow Jew. And we could only aspire to emulate that degree of love and devotion and self-sacrifice. May we be like you and devote our lives to the well-being of our fellow man and the Jewish people.